Welcome. Welcome to New Light Living. See your life in a new light. And I'm your host, Ulrika Sullivan. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so grateful for everyone who's tuning in every week. I want you to know that you have a busy life. And today we're talking about one of the most difficult things to make happen, and that is how to make time for you. And are you ready for 7 easy ways to find space in your calendar this week? And isn't it so that we can go week after week after week, and just think about what we want to change in our lives. We can go week after week and not taking action at all. It's all in your head and hoping that things will ease up. Have you been in that situation too? And I can feel it myself. But new things come up all the time, and the anxiety is building because nothing is happening. Today, I want to give you an extra big kickstart to make more time for you. So I created a 5-day challenge that starts today that you still can join in with, by the way. So just go to newlightliving.com to register for free today and join us in the private Facebook group, New Light Living Podcast Community, to get inspired to take action to make more time for you and put yourself back on your calendar. How does that sound? Are you with me? Now is the time, right? No, wait, you may say, I ran out of time, gotta go. I can't make that time commitment to myself right now. Sorry, bye. Does this sound like you? Does this sound how your mind is thinking right now? Then this show today showed up just in right time. And I created this show just for you. It's time to feel inspired, creative, and fulfilled and alive, isn't it? Instead of feeling that life is piling up the responsibilities and tasks on top of each other so high that at the end of the day, there's no time for you. Isn't it time to feel that you have your life in balance and that there's a healthy balance between you time, work, family, friends, and whatever else is important to you without feeling that guilt? Isn't it time to replace patterns that are not true to who you are now and step into your power, right? But how do you do that? What does it take to truly break the time-driven life pattern that you may have been in, but it doesn't serve you to be your best anymore? You may need to say no if you need to, because right now you can be spread in all these different directions. The time is now to release what's not serving you anymore. And by releasing what's not true for you, you welcome new opportunities that are true for you and your soul growth. It's time for new beginnings and see the reality of your situation. It's time. So let's go back to this. I can't make time for myself right now. I don't have time. Or where did the time go? How many times have you heard this comment in reference to time? That it's lack of time, that there's not enough time, and time is running so fast. I don't know how it happened. We can just look at our calendars, how quick it feels up, right? That's our conditioned way to perceive our lives, the perception of time, and that we don't have enough of it. Well, today we're going to change that, right? Good. Let's dive a bit deeper here. Because this current way of how we're looking at time, that we don't have enough of it, generates not only anxiety, but a focus on lack and FOMO, fear of missing out. But have you thought of that this perception of not having enough time also provides a way out, a way out the back door. Feeling that we don't have time gives us permission to not put ourselves on the calendar. How many of you give yourself permission to not take care of yourself the way you want because you're too busy? I personally look back that there was not even a thought of going through my mind that I had the right and the responsibility to take care of what I need to feel good and to put myself on the calendar, because I was way too busy to even think that I could make that space for myself in my day and in my week. I have a previous work colleague who was working and working, driving towards a deadline, completely neglected to take care of herself. She burned out and she was full of anxiety, and she didn't make the deadline. And this made her feel not capable, not efficient enough, and guilty for not being able to manage this large project to timeline. Her anxiety, stress feelings of not being enough. So look what time did to her when time was the focal point. Time functioning as a judge of her and if it was done well or not. She later became a client of mine and was able to shift her perspective and shift her conditioned focus on time and put her focus on herself first and then time. So based on that experience and now knowing what it takes to create an aura of inspiration, feeling alive, and how important it is to make time and space for herself daily. That's why we're talking about make time for you in this show, because I want that for you too. Because you may say, I'm too fully booked. I have too much going on. I don't know where to start. I don't trust that it will be any different this time. I really need to start taking care of myself in a different way to feel better physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So I've created 7 simple steps, 7 simple tips that you can take whatever resonates with you from this, but I know it works. So if you feel ready to make time for you this week, I put these steps and tips into a 5-day challenge that you can join and get a kickstart this week, and it's all for free. All right. Okay, so I hope you're ready to go through these 7 steps with me as a highlight. So let me ask you, what if we didn't refer to time as a limiting factor? What would be the reference point instead? What could it be? Maybe we could reference our level of satisfaction instead of time, or how inspired we're feeling in our day, or how much fun we're having instead of referencing time. So could we make these feelings of inspiration, satisfaction, or having the fun the yardstick instead of time? Could we? For example, if you lived by how inspired you were feeling, you may decide to do something completely different in your day than what you're doing now and what you're prioritizing now. What would happen and what would you change in your life if you lived by how inspired you are every day, instead of adjusting what you do in life based on when something needs to be done by? Take that in and reflect upon that a little bit. What if you had a different yardstick on what success means? Because that's really the bottom line. We want to be successful. And currently, our conditioned mind is thinking, we need to do it on time and it needs to happen a certain way. I know it's a bit of a different way of looking at how to run your day, but in fact, make time for you is not about time. It's about allowing your attention to be on your fulfillment, your connection with what you and you need. and let your work day and your day ahead be driven by that rather than time as a measure. And by the way, this is a mindset shift that is major. And I remember I used to be so attached to time. If I had planned something to happen a certain day and it didn't, I got so upset. Whatever I had planned, that had to happen on my timetable, period. Can you relate? So when you're also caught in this time attachment, that's when you're also caught in the war against time, which can never be won. And how much fun is that? So let's get into these easy ways that you can use to make space in your calendar this week. In the 5-day challenge, we'll go a bit deeper than this. And you're also doing this in a group together, so the accountability is there. Not just to listen to, but actually do it. And if that's something you want, go to newlightliving.com and register for the 5-day challenge today, which is free. And if you're hearing this after the show aired, no worries. Look out for the next opportunity to join a challenge like this inside our private Facebook group, New Light Living Podcast Community. As I said, these tips I'll give you next may sound simple, but to actually do them for real is a different story. So stay with me here. I'm going to get you the highlights of 7 easy but practical ways to find space in your calendar for you this week. So let's dive into it. Do you want to put yourself on your calendar for real? And the obvious answer may be yes, but the first one here is really to go deep within and listen how willing you are to commit to a change right now compared to what you're experiencing in your life. The change we're talking about here is to reprioritize what you do during your day based on a different perspective on time. What would it take for you to commit to make space in your calendar this week? This may be different for you than what it is for me, but what it does, it forces you to not brush it off with the excuse, I don't have time, I'm too busy. This may be the hardest one of them all. So if you want support from me and others, join the 5-day challenge. And as I said earlier, this is not about time. It's about your commitment to yourself, commitment to step into your power and nurture your well-being, your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. And I'll let you in on a little secret here. Once you make that commitment, it all flows from there. Once you have committed with your heart, you feel lighter and you're on your way. The second tip I want to get into here is what can wait this week? Well, nothing can wait, right? Everything is priority one. I hear that from so many women that nothing can really wait. And it may feel like is like that so strongly, but that's when we need to look at it from a different perspective. So how about, what is it that you'd like to happen this week? Instead of what can wait this week. That changes the energy around what you would like to make happen this week, instead of something that you have to down prioritize in terms of thinking what can wait this week. So think like this. What results would you like to have this week? What is the effect of those results that you'd like to enjoy? Now you can adjust your week to that and remove anything that wouldn't support it. This practice is also about surrender, to remove things from your day and trust that it's the right things that can wait. So how does that sound? What would you like to happen this week? Now, when you have done what the result you want this week, it's time to look at what needs to be completed to see that result. So this is the third tip. We'll work more on this inside the challenge, but basically your to-do list becomes a complete list. So that's a mindset shift when it comes to what you would like to see being completed this week versus, I have all of these things I need to do, all of these tasks on my to-do list. So that's, see how that works for you, if that's a tip you would like to embrace. Now we're moving on to tip number 4, and that is, what can you let others do? And I mean the word delegate. And you may think, no one else can do what I do. No one else can do the bills in my household, or take out the trash, or empty the dishwasher, or fold the laundry, or walk the dog. No one else can do it. Not letting others help you is the most time draining ever. So take a hard look at what you have on your plate and intentionally delegate. It's the most effective short-term thing to do, because if you ask for help, that time that took for you to do that before is going to be done by somebody else. And that's a win-win, isn't it? Now we're moving on here to number 5. What's the big picture? When we get stressed, it's easy to get tunnel vision, and that may result in the focus that we're focusing on the issue at hand and not the solution. So given all the things you may feel is an issue right now, look up. Just look up and look around and connect with why you need to make space for you. Why do you need to make space for you? And let that inspire you to take the next steps. And now we're getting into the fun and the 6th tip here. By the way, when was the last time you did something for you and only you? Now it's time to bring in the fun and what you enjoy. Put it on your calendar today. Because by now, when you're on the 6th tip here, you should have a little space in your calendar to actually step into and spread your wings and put something really substantial on your calendar for you only. Now, the last tip that I want to give you here that is really bringing more space and more joy into your week is, do you know someone who's overwhelmed? Maybe someone that is showing the same desire as you to make more space for themselves in their life and in their calendar. This last tip is to take what you've learned here in a couple of short minutes and help someone else to make that space for themselves in their own calendar. So partner up with someone to help each other to make more space in their calendar, shift the perspective of time into being more inspired, and let the joy drive and lead you. And how much more fun can you have, maybe even together, in your week, in your lives? I hope any of these tips are resonating with you. And ultimately, it's you who are in charge. And maybe a little nugget from this show today have propelled you into a momentum of change for you. And you may never say, I don't have time for myself ever again. Because if you have tried for a long time to break a pattern that is not serving you anymore, the truth of the matter here is that you can't solve a recurring issue, an issue that comes back and back and back, and you feel the same frustration week after week, such as not having time for yourself. You can't solve that issue with the same method as you have done before. You have to bring in something new. And often what it takes is that you have to feel so done with your previous behavior and way to solve this. You have to feel so done with it that you are allowing a new way to come through. And it is really to see your reality with self-awareness and welcome in a new way to come that could serve you even better. Because your needs are yours, nobody else's. And a fulfilled life comes with a responsibility to yourself. And with taking responsibility comes action and inner peace. So any of these 7 tips, we just talked about how you can make time for you and the 7 easy ways to make space in your calendar this week. So let me repeat these 7 quick tips for you. Number 1, what would it take for you to commit? Number 2, what things can wait this week? And to shift that perspective into what would you like to happen this week? Number 3 is, what would you complete this week? What would you like to see completed this week? And then number 4, what can you let others do? And that one is a biggie. Now, if this feels really undoable, go back to what's the big picture? Why would you want to ensure that you get more time for you in your calendar on a regular basis? And then we move on to really doing something for yourself this week. Make it happen. Make it tangible. Really put yourself on the calendar this week. And then lastly, look around and help someone else to do the same. And even if you're not joining the 5-day online challenge, I hope you can take the essence of these easy ways to make time for you and do it. Because you have all what you need to step into your own power. It's there already. Just open the door. And if you want support and a group of like-minded, head over to the Facebook group, New Light Living Podcast Community, and I'll be talking more about how the 5-day challenge will work and what you can expect. So let's do this together. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Let this year of 2020 be the one where you can take responsibility for your own self-care, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. See your life in a new light. Trust the process. Do the work.